Good morning everybody and welcome to the opening day of the 2023 Murray crayfishing season.
Hey you!
You're watching Robbie Fishing. Now I'll say this only once in this video, that fishing rules and regulations are subject to change, so things I talk about in this video may be applicable now, but they may not be applicable in the future. So before you head out crayfishing, make sure you check up with the rules and regulations before you head out. Now, it's cray opening here in Victoria. The Murray crayfishing season is open from the 1st of June until the 31st of August inclusive. In other words, it's open every single day of winter and no other day of the year. I'm allowed up to 5 drop nets or hoop nets, which I've already got baited up with chicken frames and chicken carcasses. I'm just waiting for the light to get a little bit better now, and then I'm going to go and put them nets in and see if I can catch my first cray of the season. Right, I've got just enough light to get started. Net number 1 out there. Oh, that current better not wash that net down into that tree. There's a real chance that could be snagged, that net, when I go to pull it up. Alright, net number 2. I'll throw that a bit upstream because the current grabbed that last net. Net number 3 is one of these wire-bottomed crab pots. I really like these nets. They're the best for throwing out a long way like that. Net number 4, I'll give that a big heave. Right, now 5th and final net. Right, I'll go and chill out for a while and check them in, I don't know, when the mood hits me right. So I've got one just up there, one here, one here. Check this out. 2 time-lapse cameras, one facing each way. My DJI Action 2 and my Canon G7X Mark III. And I've got 2 cray nets over there. Right, it's time for the first check of the nets. Just as I was walking down here, then I heard a carp or something jump over there. Now, I've done really well. They've been in for about half an hour. I put them in at 7. It's 7:27, so it's been a bit under half an hour. Time for the impatient check. Careful I don't end up in the drink here. Please don't be snagged. Oh, I'm not off to a very good start. Didn't I say when I put this in, I reckon the current's going to drag that down onto that snag. Right, I've got it off, but it's going to be mangled. Well, I'm off to a bad start. I've damaged a net. Straight off the bat, I've damaged a net. I'll leave that out while I check the other nets. Then I'll fix that during the next soak. Nothing in either of these 2 nets. This can go back out. It wasn't snagged. I'll go and check the other 3 and then I'll fix the broken one. I haven't decided whether I'll keep a crayfish or 2 today if I get a legal one, or whether I'll just do catch and release and put them all back. I'll worry about that when I start catching them. Oh, come on, net number 4. Doesn't feel very heavy. Oh, sure, just got one. I'm on the board for the new cray season. It's probably a female because look how big it is. It might not be, I can't see any eggs. It's not a female. I haven't decided whether I'm going to keep a crayfish this today or not. Normally I keep 1 or 2 each season. That is huge. It's going to be oversized, I think. I measure it with my new Bait Bomb by Knowlesy cray measurer. It's a little bit oversized. That's alright, that can go back. It's got to be, that's 10 centimetres there, 12 centimetres there. 10's the minimum, 12's the maximum, and that's about 12 and a half. It's about 5 or 6 mil oversize. Beauty! I'll get a photo of my first cray of the season. Well folks, it's good to see my crayfish calling skills haven't changed. No, not very heavy this one, nothing in this one, and then an absolute monster. An oversized male crayfish. Well, it could be a female without eggs, I didn't really pay any attention. Either way, it's oversized and it's got to go back. I'm not expecting this net to do much good, it's a bit shallower up this end, but anyway, you never know. Got to be in it to win it. Feels like it could be a bit heavy, unless it's tangled maybe. No, it's got a cray in it, that's why. Beauty. It's a bit smaller. That might be a legal size cray. And she's got eggs. It's a Jenny, a legal sized female. No size is legal when they've got eggs. They've all got to go back. But just to keep my eye in, I'll get a measure with the Bait Bombs by Knowlesy crayfish measurer. I'll explain how I got this shortly. Yep, that is just in. That's right on the maximum size. Actually, that might even be a little bit oversized anyway. But either way, she's got eggs, so she's going back. 2 on the board in the first check. Off to a great start. See you later, Jenny. A female crayfish. It's called a Jenny. Alright, I'll put these 2 nets back in. That'll mean there's 4 nets in, and then I'll go and repair net number 5. The G7X can only do time lapses for up to 2 hours. The DJI Action 2 can go for 5 hours. That's a time lapse machine, that thing. Right, I've given this net a bit of a temporary kind of a fix. I've got a repair kit in my car with a few hose clamps and a screwdriver, but I'll put that out here and just see how it goes for now. This is my stainless steel Bait Bombs by Knowlesy, or Bait Bomb Murray Cray measurer. It's got the minimum measurement of 10 centimetres there, the maximum of 12 there, and it's got a bottle opener up that end. Now, how I come to be in possession of this, I won't go into details, but I helped them out. I helped Bait Bombs by Knowlesy out with something behind the scenes a while ago, and to say thank you, they sent me a few bait bombs to try out, not bait bombs to try out, as well as a bait bomb measurer. So I'm using chicken carcasses today, but one day soon I'll go crayfishing with the bait bombs and see how they perform. But thanks Bait Bombs by Knowlesy, this is a cool device. And I love the bottle opener, that'll come in handy. Right, it's time for round 2. Now that one that I fixed, I'll check that last because I put that in last. Fixed, or attempted to fix. Now after I go around these nets, I'm going to film a bit of a Q&A. There's a couple of questions that I get asked every single year when I'm crayfishing. So I'm going to answer them today before I get asked this year. Oh, that's snagged. Let's bring in the snag in. Ugh. This spot's not proving to be very good, is it? It's proving to be very snaggy. Get out there, downstream of that snag and upstream of that snag. Right, I'm going to make a call. And yes, there's definitely something in this. There's 2 in here. I reckon it feels quite heavy. Oh, snagged. No, it's off the snag. Oh, 2. There's 3. There's 3 in there and a big bit of dirt, the sand that I picked up on the way in. I've got the what's a trifecta? I couldn't think of it. I'm not used to saying the daily double. I've got the trifecta. Oh, it's so good to see a few undersized ones. I'm going to get a photo of that. So good to see a few small ones. Haven't seen a lot of small ones the last couple of years, and obviously they've been there because there they are there. There's a couple of them there. Off you go. I'll turn the net upside down. One thing about crays, they can be really hard to get out of the net. That one down there, probably couldn't really measure him, although I think he's I'm pretty sure it's undersized. I will get a quick measure. Yeah, it's only just undersized. Probably about 95, I reckon. They've got to be 100 mil, 10 centimetres. I reckon that's about 9.5. So I've got 2 oversized and 3 undersized. It's hard for a lot of people overseas to believe that this tiny weeny crayfish is actually small, because that's way huge. That's bigger than any American crawfish, and yet it's very undersized for a crayfish. You can go in there with that one, mate. There's 2 of them just there and the other one's already gone. The crayfish trifecta, right? What's the call? Well, this isn't very heavy. I reckon this is empty. None is the call. And none it is. 3 in one net, none in the other. What's the call? 1. Feels heavy. 2. These nets are twice the weight of the black nets. I've got to remember that. Righto. Righto, this is the net that I kind of repaired. I'm not expecting it to catch too much, to be quite honest. Then again, oh, it's tangled. So then again, it does feel a bit heavy, but that's why. There's a couple of questions that I get asked every single crayfishing season without fail. So this year I'm going to answer those two questions right now on Cray Opening 2023 before I get asked. The first question is, why don't I go fishing in between checking my cray nets? Why don't I bring my fishing rods and drown some worms or a bit of cheese and try and catch a fish while I'm waiting for my cray nets to catch a crayfish? The answer is quite simple. And that's because I love the relaxation part of crayfishing. I love putting the nets in, forgetting about them, coming back to my car and relaxing. Today I'm sitting in my car playing with my phone. It's been great. After I check the nets the next time, I'm going to take my camera gear, I'm going to go for a walk through the bush, and I'm going to do a bit of landscape photography. And this is what I love. Those gaps of time between checking the net. Sometimes I'll have a campfire and I'll just sit there and enjoy the fire. I might even have a cold drink or two. I'm not doing that today because I forgot the matches, but you know what I mean? Do you get the point? Sometimes I like to just put the nets in and then chill out and come back to my car and pursue other interests like photography, reading a book or a magazine, playing with my phone, going for a bushwalk or whatever. So for me, one of the most attractive things about crayfishing is the relaxation and the fact that it slows me right down. If I lived in Melbourne and I only got to come up here a couple of times a year, I would definitely be fishing while my cray nets are in. But because I'm lucky enough to live 5 minutes away from these wonderful places that I go fishing, I can go fishing anytime. I don't have to make the most of that once or twice a year trip. So I'm happy to put the nets in and chill out between checking the nets. But if you want to go fishing between checking the nets, you certainly can do that, and a lot of people do that. The other question I get asked a lot is, how long should I leave the nets in for? There are so many variables there. If there was just one answer, I would say 45 minutes to an hour. I've checked my nets twice today. The first soak they were in for about half an hour and I caught 2. The second soak they were in for about 40 minutes and I caught 3, and they're all in the one net. So I've had them in for 30 and 40 minutes. 45 minutes to an hour is good, but there's sometimes when you might want to check them every 15 or 20 minutes because the crays are really on the bite and you don't want them to come in, get a feed and get out. So it all varies from time to time. A rule of thumb, anywhere between half an hour and an hour is a really good starting point. If you're not catching any, you might want to give them longer. If you're catching a few or you're finding that there's bite marks but no crayfish, that means they might have come in and got a feed and left, then you might want to go a little bit shorter. But start off with half an hour to an hour, 45 minutes or so, that's a good time. Folks, they're questions that I get asked every year. Hopefully some of you have found these the answers to these questions informative and useful. Anyway, got about 15 minutes to go and then it's time to check them again. Like David Beckham. Check them like Beckham. Well, it's time to check them. It's a little bit early. This net's probably only had about 25 minutes, but what I want to do, if it's got nothing in it, I haven't got much faith in this spot right here. If it's got nothing in it, I'm going to move it down to that steep bank down there. It's very snaggy and it's going to be an absolute death trap for my net. But the net's pretty damaged now anyway. Having said that, it'll probably be full of crayfish now and I won't want to move it. Wouldn't that be funny? And it is! Maybe I might leave it here. Can you believe that? That's a big one. Has it got eggs? It's a huge cray and I'm guessing it's got eggs. The tail's pretty well, yep, she's full of eggs. Maybe I'll just leave it here then for a while. That threw a spanner in the works. I was certain this net wasn't going to catch any crayfish, so I was going to take it down there and drop it off that steep bank. But I might leave it here for a while now. That threw a spanner in the works, that one. I'm going to get a measurement of this cray with my measurer. I would not like that to bite me on the finger. Right. Oh, that's huge. That's probably close to 130, I reckon. That's bigger than the first big one that I got. Huge cray. Oh, there it goes. I just got a heap of photos of it as it swam off. You can still see the bubbles. I thought I was filming, but I wasn't. Anyway, I got some nice photos of that big old female there. Awesome. This is the damaged net. I was going to move it down there. That's why I came and checked it a bit early, but I'm not going to worry about it now. Leave it here a bit longer. Just like the other net down there, if this net hasn't got anything in it, I'm going to move it. I'm going to put it up the other end of my other nets. Just not feeling the love in this spot. It's not deep, snaggy. Yeah, it's awkward. Tangled that time. The strings have slipped. No, not feeling it with this net. This can move to a different location. Oh no, this one can go right up the other end here. Oh look, the G7X is finished, the time lapse is finished. I'll check that out after I put this in and check these other nets. I'll set it there for now and I'll check these nets first. This was the one that had the trifecta in it last time I checked it. Didn't feel as heavy this time, I reckon one. Not even that many. About net number 2. This feels heavy, this has got one in it. Yep, only a little one. Another good to see small one. You can hear it hissing. See you later, mate. And net number 3. This is a heavy net, so I reckon there's something in it. It still feels heavy. Even though it's a heavy net, it feels heavier than heavy. Any wonder, it's 2. 2 including a monster. The heavy net was heavier than normal. Where do we stand with regards to size? Oh, feisty big one. No eggs. I reckon I've got a legal cray here. It's legal, but just. It's in by about 1 millimetre. Mate, I'm going to put you back. Hopefully you don't get caught again this season. And you can just grow into that protected size and be a spawner. Wow, what a beauty. It's legal, but it's so close to being legal that it wouldn't be worth the risk, I reckon. It's right on the maximum size. And I'm sure this one will be under the minimum. Yeah, well and truly under. It's about 90, not even that. That one's about 90. Comfortably under. That last one was, I reckon, 1 millimetre off being oversized. It was so close. Sometimes it's better to be safe than sorry and just put them back in to be on the safe side. I'll now put these nets back in and then I'm going to go and check my time lapse and see how it came out. All 5 nets are in. Those 2 are a bit close together, but that's okay. Let's go and see how this time lapse looks. Righto, it's time to check them. This is the net that had that real big girl in it last time. I was just reading the sad news. The man that invented fairy bread died last week. They reckon there were hundreds and thousands at his funeral. Right, yep, there's one in here for sure. It's heavy, heavy, heavy. 2, tangled. 3, 4. 4 big crayfish in a tangled net. Can you believe that? 4 monsters. Any wonder the net's so heavy I can barely lift it. Nine out of 10 crayfish surveyed said they prefer chicken frames over fairy bread. Have a look at that. The sun's just coming out. Look. Can you believe that? Look at the size of that one. That is truly incredible. Now, if there's a legal male in here, I reckon I might take one home for a feed. I've been umming and ahhing all morning. Will I, won't I, will I, won't I? That's a male. Yep, it's in. Just in. That one is just in size. Right, I might keep that one, I think. Seems to be a few about, so. What's this one? It's female, female, male. That one's oversized. Check this out. This is an oversized male. And look at the big knob on his claw. Well, I'll throw him in from back up here. I'm happy to do that. These two are females, so I'm going to take them down there and put them in a bit more gently. Because they're carrying eggs. I was thinking it's so heavy. Now I know why. That is an enormous female, that is. Right. You wait there, mate. I'll go put these two girls back. Alright, Cray with eggs. Done a quick measure. I left my measuring stick up there. I can't get a measure of this huge Cray because I left my measuring stick up at the nets. Right, those two, the other one's already gone. Right, now go back to the one that I'm going to keep and I'm going to put it in my bucket. Right, I've kept one. I did get another legal one earlier, but he was just on the maximum size. This one's about 1 millimetre or 2 under. This one's comfortably legal. The other one was a bit of guesswork. One small one in here, I reckon, and that's it. Not even that. None. I'm going to say one small one again. Doesn't feel snagged. There's a snag just there. Doesn't feel overly heavy. None again. Right, what's in here? None. And this last net here, this is the one that I moved from down there before. None. 4 in the first net, none in the other 4 nets. Isn't that amazing? Right, it's time to go around the nets again. It's been a bit over half an hour. This time I am going to take one out. I'm keen to put one on that bend down there. I think it's going to be super snaggy, but I'm keen to take the risk. Right, this feels heavy again. I reckon there's another 1 or 2 in here. Yes, 3. This had 4 last time, 3 this time. This really is turning out to be the super net, this one. Have I got a partner for the one that I kept earlier? I'm having such an amazing Cray opening. Well, this one's got no eggs. I think this might be a partner for the one that I've kept. Unless it's undersized. It's going to be close. Certainly won't be oversized. Right, let's have a look. Right, where's the minimum? Now it's comfortably legal. Beauty. Comfortably legal. It's about 100. They've got to be between 10 and 20, and that's about 11. So what I will do, I will check this other one because it's bigger. And if it's got eggs, I'll keep the bigger of the two. If it hasn't got eggs, I mean. No, that's got eggs. I'm pretty confident that one's going to have eggs. Right, beauty. Now I've brought these two females down here to the dedicated female releasing zone. Off they go. That one's gone. This one's hit a snag. That's a big crayfish. I might make this my last soak, I think. The last one. The last hurrah. Come on, net number 2. Oh yes, it feels heavier this time. Yeah, there's one in here now. One or two. One. One crayfish with eggs. Go on. See you later, love. Alright, net number 3. It feels heavy as well. There's one or two in here too, I reckon. One very large one. That's a huge cray. Humongosaurus. Humongous crayfishes. The size of that. I'll put it up here and get a photo. That is another huge female. Righto. Feels heavy. Nothing in it. When I don't say anything, I catch a crayfish, and when I make the call that it's heavy, I catch nothing. This is the only net that hasn't caught a crayfish today. And I think it still hasn't. Oh. I've got it wrong every single call. I say it's heavy, there's nothing. I say there's nothing, and there's a cray. So good at this. Come on, how'd you get? Now I've got my bag, so I don't need any, but is that a legal cray? I reckon it nearly is. Yep, just on legal. That's the minimum size, it's just on legal. But I've got my bag limit so I can go back. See you later, mate. Now even though that net caught a crayfish, then I'm going to move it. Rightio. All morning there's a voice in my head telling me to put a net in here, and yet I think it's a stupid idea because I reckon it's going to get snagged. If it doesn't get snagged, I reckon it'll catch crayfish because it's a nice looking spot. That could be the last time I ever see that net. Right, I'm about to check the nets for the last time, but before I do, I better just grab this time lapse and see how it turned out. Now this net here has been an absolute powerhouse this morning, and I'm embarrassed to say that it's the one that I thought would do the worst. It's actually done the best. It feels like I might have one in it this time, maybe. 3. It's caught so many crayfish. Now I've got my bag limit, so these are all going back. That's probably a legal cray, that one. I reckon it's got no eggs, and I reckon it's pretty close to the legal size. I'm almost certain that'll be a legal cray. This one's got eggs, I think. Yep. And I'd say this one has 2. I wonder... She's nearly got me then. I wonder if I'm catching the same crayfish twice or over again. I honestly don't know. I know a lot of people will probably be wondering that and wanting to ask that, but I honestly don't know. And unless I mark them, I've got no way of knowing. Anyway, let's go and put these 2 back. The males like that one a minute ago, I'll just throw them back in, but because these have got eggs, we all know that eggs are fragile and that pregnant ladies need a little bit of extra pampering. So I bring them down here. What's the call? Snag. Very heavy. Either there's about 3 or 4 in it or it's snagged, or a bit of both. There's 2 and snags and a bit of mud. So good to see these smaller ones getting around. That makes me so happy. That'd almost be a legal crayfish as well, I reckon. Be pretty close. This one's not legal. Eggs or no eggs, it's undersized. Oh, gee whiz. The spikes are sharp. You spiked me, mate. You spiked me. Look at that, there's the cray. See you later, mate. And that's where it spiked me. That was just one of its sharp little spikes. It pricked me. Right, can I get a cray in every net for all 5 nets? I've got cray in the first 2, crays in the first 2 I've checked. This feels too light. I think there's nothing in this one. No, well that rules that out. I'm not going to get crays in every net. Alright, net number 4. Nah. One little one. Feels heavy, but this is a very heavy net. Oh, there's one in here. Very pale. Look how pale it is. That's almost white. Is that an albino crayfish, maybe? I don't know. That's a very pale looking crayfish. I'm going to get a photo of that. That crayfish is almost white. Look. That's the palest looking crayfish I've ever seen. You can see the blue on the end of his little spikes. Other than that, she's got eggs. She's got eggs, but she's very... certainly haven't caught this one before. How pale it is. Pale rider. Have a look at that for a pale crayfish. That's incredible. It's almost white. You can just see a bit of blue on the end of the points, the end of the spikes there. See you later. Albino cray or lewistic crayfish or whatever they call white things these days. Go on. Righto folks, this is the last check of the day and it's also the riskiest. Will it be snagged like I suspect it will, or will it be full of crays? There's certainly there's a lot of snags down there. It's snagged, but it's... Nah, that whole log there is shaking. I knew it. I knew it was a risk. Well folks, the last net was snagged. No surprises there. Other than that one hiccup, I've just had an incredible morning. Lots of crayfish, so many crayfish. Big ones, oversized, undersized, with eggs, without eggs. Even a white one thrown in the mix there towards the end. This has been one of the best crayfishing sessions I can remember, and a crayfish opening day that I won't forget anytime soon. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video.